let's get started. Hi, everybody. My name is Andy Fillmore. I'm the Member of Parliament here in Halifax and the Parliamentary Secretary for Innovation, Science and Industry. And thank you to Eating Disorders Nova Scotia for bringing us all together. Shaleen, you and your team for making today's event happen for a really important announcement today. There's no way that I need to tell anybody in this room about the importance of good mental health and how integral that is to our overall well-being. And that's something that really needs to be prioritized in all of our lives. Mental health conditions like eating disorders can have a significant impact on our mental and physical health and the overall quality of our lives. Now, unfortunately, the insert curse word here, pandemic, has made a lot of this worse and has actually introduced new eating disorders within people that didn't have them before. We've seen this emergence, and it's been put a strain on the work that Shaleen and Eating Disorders Nova Scotia does, but it's also helped to shine a light on the importance of that work. Eating disorders are particularly common among young people in Canada, and they can affect people of all genders, all ethnicities, all body types. So it's really important to address and treat these disorders early on in life to ward off any long-term negative impacts or effects, whether that's physical or in terms of mental health. Now, Minister Bennett's team knows this, Canada's Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, and the EDNS team here know this as well. That seeking help from mental health professionals and having access to support can greatly aid the recovery process. And that's going to bring us to why we're all here today. I'm very pleased to announce that the Government of Canada is investing nearly $1.3 million in Eating Disorders Nova Scotia. So congratulations to the EDNS team. And I know you're going to put this to really good work. With this new funding, let's talk about what you're going to do with it. With this new funding, Eating Disorders Nova Scotia will expand existing peer support programs for youth experiencing disordered eating in two ways. The first is by recruiting more youth to lead their youth-focused programming. And the second is to recruit more caregivers to support their family-based programming. This project will be delivered virtually across Canada through a partnership with Body Brave, and Shaleen was just telling me all about that beautiful partnership a few moments ago. Body Brave's digital platform is going to allow delivery to youth and families across Canada of important programs like peer support chat, peer support groups, individual peer support, personal recovery supports, and peer support for caregivers. This announcement is part of a much bigger investment that was part of Budget 2021, Canada's federal budget, to support projects that promote mental health and prevent mental illness in populations that are disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Those populations include youth and seniors, Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people in Canada, frontline and other essential workers, and others whose mental health has been and continues to be impacted by this pandemic. By ensuring that youth and their caregivers have access to these necessary resources and supports, we can help them to overcome their eating disorders and be well. So we all look forward to seeing all of the great work that EDNS will do and continue to do to support our youth in their overcoming of their disorders and create space for positive mental health, which is crucial, as we know, to helping people lead healthy and fulfilling lives. So thank you very much to EDNS and to Brave Space. And with that, I want to bring Shaleen Jones, my dear friend, up to the microphone.
Thanks so much, Andy. All right, so thanks everyone for joining us today. My name is Shaleen Jones, and I am the founder and executive director for Eating Disorders Nova Scotia. And we are very passionate about one thing. We believe that everyone deserves access to the supports and resources that they need for recovery. We know that being free from an eating disorder is absolutely possible, and that everyone deserves that chance. The longer one goes living with an eating disorder without receiving support, the more entrenched the illness becomes, and the harder it is for folks to recover. So early intervention is absolutely essential. As Andy said, the investment in this program that's delivered virtually from coast to coast to coast will allow people from anywhere in Canada to receive low barrier, low intensity supports and resources, including peer support, which we've been working on for the past 20 years, as well as self-guided self-management program and other evidence-based supports. We know that peer support is incredibly powerful. It creates opportunities for connection, for validation, and most importantly, for hope. Our team of trained peer mentors support folks in groups and one-on-one, diminishing shame, breaking silence, and serving as a bridge to help people support additional supports and resources they might need. This program, like all of our programs, is grounded in the expertise of young people who have lived with and through an eating disorder. And so I want to introduce you to my esteemed colleague, Nikki. Nicole is a peer mentor with EDNS, Eating Disorders Nova Scotia, and was instrumental in the development of our youth peer support program. So I'm going to pass it over to the expert, Nicole.
Hello. Okay. So hello, thank you. Sorry. Okay. As Shaleen mentioned, my name is Nicole, and I support in the development and facilitation of youth programming at Eating Disorders Nova Scotia. So the impact this funding will have on young people is both significant and necessary. I'll be sharing a bit about my own experience in hopes of highlighting what this really means to the community as well as myself. So at the age of 14, I knew I needed support, terrified of my own thoughts, and even more terrified to say something. So I navigated this in silence and in isolation for 10 years before I sought out support. In isolation, because it was the only way I thought overcoming an eating disorder could have been done. And why? It was because that there was nothing for me at such a young age that would have appropriately supported me and provided me with what I never knew that I needed. And that was community. That was the recognition and the impact of my cultural identity. And more critically, knowing that I am not alone in this. So while I mentioned suffering in isolation, it is important to highlight that this is not an isolated experience. Thousands of young Canadians are struggling. So to sit in a room listening to others with similar lived experience and where recovery doesn't have to be a scary conversation, but a hopeful one, allows for the dismantling of stigma and shame to happen and to take place so that suffering and isolation isn't your only option. The desire I have for developing programs for young people struggling with disordered eating or recovery came out of the experience of eventually finding hope for myself. Being in recovery now, my passion remains, and I know I'm only able to do this because of the community supports that I received, but it wasn't soon enough. Eventually isn't good enough. So the development of these programs will not only allow for immediate action to take place, but also for prevention to happen. So through this funding, we have resources to create spaces for young BIPOC individuals, trans plus, two-spirited, and non-binary individuals that navigate unique challenges, and a place where reclaiming culture and connecting with others can occur. And that alone is incredibly transformative. So thank you. Okay,
Thanks so much, Nikki. Really appreciate that. It illustrates the real impact on a person's life of what this funding will help to amplify, and also the work that EDNS has been doing for so very long. I have to correct myself. I said Brave Space. I meant Body Brave. Brave Space is another incredible Halifax company, but we were talking about our partnership with Body Brave today, not Brave Space. So forgive me for that error. I'd like to ask the media to form an orderly queue, and we'll start the Q&A right now. I think that's it for today. I'm sure that if there are any questions in the room from anybody, Shaleen and Nikki would be happy to answer those. And with that, I guess we'll close this. Oh, I beg your pardon, the online. Okay.
We will now proceed to questions from journalists online with Zoom. If you're a reporter and wish to ask a question, please use the hand raising function. We ask that you limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Nous allons maintenant prendre des questions des journalistes sur le Zoom. We don't have any journalists online, so back to you in the room.
Okay, thanks for that. I think we're good. Time for chit chat. Thanks. All right.